What's up, guys? How you doing today? We got some stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers a little bit, and we're going to do Week 1 recap, go over what happened and what's going on moving forward with teams. It's only 1 week, so it's really not much to judge. I'm not going to get over-exaggerated. I think I'm going to stick to what my plans were. But the Aaron Rodgers news does put a wrench in some of our predictions about the New York Jets this year, obviously, because we gave Jets a lot of props. We thought the Jets were going to have a big year. We had them an 11-win team finishing second in the division. And without Aaron Rodgers, it's safe to say that the Jets will probably finish between third and fourth. Might even be last. But we'll talk about that. Also, Week 1 recap, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati, another situation that throws a wrench in our plans because we had the Bengals winning the Super Bowl. Now it's only 1 week, so it's not too late, but many people have already jumped the gun and already jumped out the window and said, hey man, Burrow's get paid this money, now the Bengals are finished. I think it's still early. I think the Bengals can still turn it around as long as Burrow stay healthy. But if Burrow somehow does have a calf injury or injury that could linger him on throughout the year, that's going to be 2 AFC top quarterbacks already down. And that's not good. Dallas Cowboys defense is looking sharp. They're looking like the best defense. Is it sustainable over the course of the year? Cowboys are so far exceeding our expectations that we had the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl and we had them having a big year. So far so good, but the offense, a little shaky. And also, we're going to get into a little bit of college football. Is Colorado the real deal? Are they for real? Can they really get to a playoff? Are they a serious contender in this college football season? Deion Sanders got these guys playing some good football the first couple weeks, beating TCU and Nebraska. Moving forward, though, the schedule does get a little bit tighter. My question will be, how will Colorado react when they finally get beat? Right? Because a team could be on the high road when they're playing well, but a new team that has never faced adversity, once they hit the adversity, how would they respond? Should Colorado lose a game, they might, if they want to start to struggle or see how they can bounce back, they might want to do that sooner than later. Because if they start to fall off the skids at the end of the year, it could be over. But they've already exceeded expectations on their whole season. They won 1 game last year. They already won 2 this year. So they've doubled their win total already. So by the standards of Colorado, they have already met the goal. So we'll see how hungry this Colorado Buffalo team is moving forward. We'll also talk about that a little bit. But first, Aaron Rodgers down for the count and out for the New York Jets. This news came in about over a few hours ago from let's go to ESPN.com. Torn Achilles injury. What's next for the New York Jets? So, Jets coach as Zach Wilson will be taking over at quarterback. Did the Rodgers injury take the Jets out of the championship picture in 2023? Of course it did. What kind of question is that? And Jets have a pretty good defense. They have a really good defense, but Zach Wilson will not lead the Jets. So that's the first question, right? Are they out of the championship window? I think they're out. I mean, they are gone, forgotten about. They're not. They have zero chance to win a Super Bowl, or even to compete in the Super Bowl. No chance whatsoever. Next question will be, can the Jets still be a playoff team? That's another question. Now, Wilson wasn't a good quarterback last year, But this is a new year, new team. We like to give guys the benefit of the doubt. Can they still be a playoff team? It will be very, very close. Now, we projected the Jets to win 11 games. So you're thinking, if Aaron Rodgers is out, how many wins is that? Well, that could be 3-4 wins. He could be good for maybe 3-2 wins, right? I think they still could be a playoff contender without Rodgers. I'm not going to say they're going to be a playoff team. They may still be a contender. And the reason why is going to depend on how good the division turns out to be. Now, we've had the division being tough. We had all 4 teams fighting for the division, and the margin of error between the 4 teams we thought would be about 3 games between the best team and the last place team, which means that if the Jet season implodes, which many expect, even if the Jets lose 2 or 3 less games in our predictions, they'll be out the playoffs completely. And our predictions, we only had 2 teams, I believe, making the playoffs in the AFC East. So by that standard, I think the Jets are technically still a contender, but they will have to finish second. Now, the Patriots lost week 1, their second half, but their defense looks pretty good as well. Jets have a good defense. Patriots have a good defense. Bills defense, not really sold. Dolphins defense, not really sold either. But I think that the Jets defense is good enough to keep them in games, which is all you ask for. Right now, the Jets and the Patriots might be in the same boat as far as like really good defenses. Can their quarterbacks not turn the ball over? So I think Mac is better than Zach. But Zach, if he could just not turn the ball over, Jets have enough weapons to still be good enough to make the playoffs. The difference here between Jets and the Patriots is that the Jets have Bill Belichick. The Patriots have Bill Belichick and the Jets don't. That's pretty much the difference right now, and the edge will go to the Pats. So, what this mean for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers? No championship this year. It's over. Done before it even starts. And it sucks. But it is what it is. NFL injuries happen, folks. Injuries happen. Hello, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is not a great opportunity for the Patriots to take advantage of, because I think many people didn't have the Pats even making the playoffs or even finishing high enough in the division. I think this is an opportunity for the Jets, for the Patriots, the Bills, and the Dolphins to take advantage of. This is it. This is war, baby. This is fucking war. And right now, the Jets have a man down. So we got to harp on this. We got to take advantage. All 3 teams are going to take advantage of this. Unfortunately for the Bills, they were not able to take advantage of it, and they still lost the goddamn game. They still lost the game. Like, how you can't beat the Jets without Aaron Rodgers? But this is the Bills are supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. I think we all exposed that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are overrated. And yes, they are overrated, I might say. You guys, I've been telling you guys, man, this Josh Allen, he ain't all that. The Bills are not all that, folks. They are not all that. And yeah, the next 3 games, they got Vegas, the Commanders, and the Dolphins. So they'll probably win a few of those games, maybe even all 3. But I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the Bills. Their window's closing, folks. And the window is not officially shut yet because of what happened here, but they couldn't beat Buffalo. Now the Jets, their season may be over, because they got to go to Dallas, take on that Dallas defense at Cowboy Stadium. Then they got to turn around and face New England's defense. Then they got to face Kansas City in the next 3 weeks. So the Jets, luckily they got the week 1 win, because they could have easily went 0-4 without Rodgers. But I think the winning the week 1, giving their team confidence, will definitely help them when they play against Dallas next week. Now, luckily for the Jets, Dallas's offense is pretty shaky, but I think they're going to play better at home. So I would chalk up that Dallas game as an L for the Jets next week. I don't know what the line is on that yet, but I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys, maybe, depending on the line. If it's too large, I probably won't, but if it's a good enough line, I'll probably take Dallas. But yeah, I mean, the Jets have a tough break. I mean, Dallas, New England, Kansas City, Denver Donkeys, home to Philly. This is all in the next 5 games. That could be game, set, match for the Jets season. And then they got the Giants, the Chargers. I mean, this thing could be over before it even starts. This is why I like to say they're still a playoff contender technically, but the next 5 weeks will determine if they're still a playoff team. If they can still, we'll know in the next 4 or 5 weeks if the Jets are playoff contenders or not, even without Rodgers. Think about it. The next 5, 6 games, like the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, they can probably go 2-5 or 1-6. So the next 7 games, they had to win at least, for them to be a serious playoff team still, they had to win, I would say, 4 of the next 7. Gotta go 4-3, 5-2. Anything past 4-3, anything worse than that, or 3-4, maybe they can still survive, because the bottom half of that schedule is pretty. It's going to be favorable, but anything worse than like 4-3, they got to go at least 4-3 and better, or the season's done. I don't see it though. I think they're going to go like 2-5, 2-5. I see 2 wins maybe in the next 7, maybe 2, maybe 3-ish, maybe 2. I say 2, to be honest. It's over. And it's a difference because with Rodgers and Wilson, right? If it's Rodgers there, those wins that we see as losses would become wins, right? But without Rodgers, those are L's. But we'll see. We will see. Now, week 1 recap, really quick. Let me see something real fast. Let me go through. Try to see if I can pull this up. Week 1 recap. A couple things stood out to me. The Patriots, Eagles, right? So, I'll tell you this. The Eagles was supposed to be really good. Eagles started out 16-0. Then the second quarter, Patriots put up 14. Third quarter, 3 points from the Eagles, and then the fourth quarter, both teams had 6. But I think the Patriot defense in the second half did some good things. Offensively, New England has to work on some stuff, but I think they'll get it going. It's still early. Now, Mac threw the ball 54 times. That's too much for Mac Jones. 54 throws, that's way too much. If you're going to throw 54 times, you got to be throwing for like 400 plus yards. 54 is way too many times. And I get it. They were down early, 16-0. You got to throw the ball, right? I understand that. But New England needs to establish the run. You brought in Ezekiel Elliott. You brought in, you got Stevenson. You got to run the ball. And Elliott, 7 rushes, 29 yards. Stevenson, 12 rushes for 25 yards. Unacceptable for Stevenson. I mean, you're supposed to be really good. Now, he did have 5 catches for 64 yards, so that was good. But you got a 2.1 yards a carry. Come on, dude. You got to do better. So, we like to see that. I thought Bourne was pretty good. 6 catches. Stevenson out of the backfield had 6 catches. Hunter Henry made some really good catches at some points of the game as well. So they spread it out. Which is, typical New England fashion. Smith-Schuster, Juju, you got to do more than 3 catches for 33 yards. You got 7 targets. You got to catch more than that. Give Hunter Henry needs some more targets, man. 6 targets. The guy caught 5. I like to see Hunter Henry get some more catches. Right? This guy, he's going to be a weapon, man. Hunter Henry is going to be a weapon if they know how to use him properly. I think that's going to be good. That'll be good. So, you're down 16-0. Guess what happens? You got to throw the ball. But you still got to run better. If you get 12 catches, 12 rushes, you got to run better than 25 yards. And I get it, the Eagles, they have a solid defensive front and all, and they draft pretty well, but you got to figure it out. So, the Eagles had a decent balanced attack, but if Mack is throwing the ball 50 times, that's not really a good look for New England, to be honest. That's really not a good look. That doesn't bode well for the Patriots. So we'll see how that goes next week. The Pats, I believe, they have the Dolphins. So that's a Sunday night game. So we will, that's going to be a good one. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. I got a phone call. All right, so Texans and Ravens. Ravens came out big. That was the largest point spread of the day. I think the Ravens were -10. They were 10-point favorites in that. On our line, I know the line went up and down depending on what sports book you were at. But Ravens, they beat the Texans. They were supposed to beat the Texans. Texans are going to be a bad team. So that's not really a big surprise, not a big revelation on what happened there. Rookie CJ Stroud for the Texans, 28 of 44. He was sacked 5 times. So the Ravens did their job. Lamar Jackson, 17 of 22, 169 yards, a pick. He was sacked 4 times as well. Lamar's just not a good quarterback. He's not that great. He took advantage of the Texans, who suck. Lamar's running the ball, 6 rushes for 38 yards. And what about these new receivers? Oh, Zay Flowers had 9 catches, 78 yards. 9 catches. He was targeted 10 times. So it seems like Lamar, and he loves his new toy in Zay Flowers. Now, that could be I wouldn't look at that as like the next week's the coordinators are like, okay, he's throwing it to the rookie. Is that really a good sign for Baltimore if you're feeding the rookie most of the targets? Or was it the fact that, are you trying to set a possible decoy of other teams thinking, okay, we got to focus on Flowers, while then the following week Beckham eats and starts to get like a bunch of catches? So I don't know what to think of that. But Zay Flowers, 9 catches, 78 yards on 10 targets. Pretty good for the rookie wide receiver. You gotta give him credit for that. Odell had 3 targets. He caught 2 passes for 37 yards. And Bateman had 3 catches. So, fuck out of here, man. Fucking gnats. Like a gnat at a fucking barbecue. But yeah, so they were supposed to beat the Titans. Titans suck. So move on to that. The Falcons and the Panthers. Right? Falcons 24-10 over the Panthers. Falcons won that game. Falcons came in on our spread. They were 3.5-point favorites, so they covered that. They won by 2 touchdowns. That was probably an easy one to project. So let me see. The one bright spot in this game was, how about, fuck, gnat. Fucking gnats. They're probably from that goddamn fruit I was eating earlier. The residue is still around. I was sitting here with a cup of lemonade too. They're probably hovering on that shit. All right, so the bright spot for the Atlanta Falcons. Talk about the Falcons first. Desmond Ridder, 15 to 18, 115 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 4 times. B.J. Robinson, right? B-John Robinson, they call him? B-John, that's his name. He had 16 touches in his NFL debut. 10 carries for 56 yards. And the kid's got skills. He has 6 catches as well. So this kid is going to be an offensive weapon. This kid is going to be a weapon for the Falcons. Now they played the Panthers. They supposed to beat the Panthers. You played it week 1. You play the Panthers at home. You're supposed to win. If you're Baltimore, you play Carolina. You play Houston at home. You're supposed to win. Okay, so that's that. All right, that's that. So they did their job. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Dude, this fucking gnat doesn't get out of here. Fucking pissing me off. Can't even get through this. All right, Browns and Bengals. Now, this was the big one everyone was talking about. The Bengals only scored 3 points in the game. And I think Joe Burrow, he got benched. That's how he was so bad. But here's the deal, guys. I'm not worried about the Bengals. I think they're going to be fine. Honestly. I think they'll be fine. And Joe Mixon, 13 rushes, 56 yards. Jamal Chase, 5 catches. He had 9 targets, 5 catches. Mixon, Smith. Where's the other receivers? They had another receiver, I guess not. So I'm not worried about the Bengals. I think once Burrow gets going, they're gonna put together a winning streak. 49ers Steelers. Now this one, I will admit, guys, I was wrong about this. I went on a rant about the Steelers being a 2.5 point underdogs at home, and I'm still not on the Brock Purdy. What's his name? Purdy. I'm still not on the bandwagon yet. I'm still not convinced. Look, I know he's still playing well, and Pittsburgh got the win. 49ers got the win. They went into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. I picked the Steelers to win. Look, I'm happy the Steelers lost. I know I picked them to win from the point spread, but I'm glad they lost. I don't like the Steelers. I was just pointing out, I just didn't think that they would allow 49ers and a young QB to come in week 1 and beat them. That was what I was trying to say. Apparently, Steelers don't got any balls no more. They allowing young QBs to walk up in their house in week 1 in a home opener and beat them. I thought Pittsburgh was built differently. I guess I was wrong about the Steelers. I guess they don't got no balls. But Christian McCaffrey destroyed them, right? 22 rushes, 152 yards. The guy had 6.9 yards a carry on the Steelers. I thought the Steelers had a pretty good defense. What the hell is going on? I thought I didn't think the Steelers would allow a week 1 guy to come into their house and rush for 152 yards in their building in week 1. Look, I hate the Steelers. I'm glad they lost, but I have a respect of the history of the Steelers and what they built and Mike Tomlin to know that, okay, they're gonna They're not going to allow this to happen in week 1 in their own building. But I was wrong. 49ers went in there and ran all over them. Christian McCaffrey. And they did whatever they wanted. So the Steelers, Kenny Pickett, 31 of 46, sacked 5 times. And it's not like the Steelers are not really they have a solid. Allen Robinson's not, he's a decent wide receiver. He's pretty good. You got Allen Robinson. They got Deontay Johnson's supposed to be solid. He had an injury, hamstring problems, so he got hurt. Calvin Austin. They got this other kid. Didn't they draft somebody? They got George Pickens, who's supposed to be good. They were raving about this guy in camp. He had 7 targets, 5 catches for 36 yards. So they're spreading the ball out. They got spread out. They had a bunch of receivers over 5 catches. So I don't know what happened. I guess the Steelers, the 49ers were just too much for them to handle. Arizona and the Commanders. Now, this game no one cared about. This was the offensive coordinator's debut with the Washington Commanders, Eric Bieniemy, where he was going to cook up. Cardinals suck. They're not going to be good. So the Commanders took care of business. They won. They didn't cover, but they won the game. Their defense took over. They had to put up 10 in the fourth just to win the game. They were losing that game actually going into the fourth quarter. So that's that. Josh Dobbs for the Cardinals, 21 of 30 for 132 yards. He was sacked 3 times. Interesting. Commanders, Sam Howell, 19 of 31, 201 yards. Sacked 6 times. Jesus. And Scary Terry had 2 catches for 34 yards. So they'll get that going at some point. So a good win for Washington in week 1 at home. Tampa Bay goes on the road and beats Minnesota. That one I did not see coming. That was a bit of a shocker. But we did pick Tampa in the spread because we had Minnesota. I think Minnesota was 6-point favorites on our spread, and we thought Tampa would probably lose the game, but Minnesota won't cover. But Tampa wins outright. So good week for Tampa. Baker Mayfield 21 of 34 for 2 touchdowns. Sacked 1 time. He also had 8 carries for 11 yards. So nothing else really good for Tampa offensively, except for Mike Evans. He was okay. 6 catches, 66 yards. Chris Godwin had 5 catches. I'm telling you, they have to trade those receivers because they're not going to be good. Yeah, they won week 1. They're not going to be a good team. I don't care if they won week 1 by 50. They're just not a good team in my opinion. They should probably get some assets and rebuild. Trade Evans, trade Godwin, get some pieces. You're not going to win. You're not winning jack squat, okay? Just give it up. I trade Evans while his value is still high. Maybe even trade Godwin. And just start over. Get some draft picks. Start over. But good win. Jacksonville and the Colts. Jacksonville with a 10-point victory. One of our big teams that we like this year to make some big noise. On the road goes into Indy and 14-point fourth quarter to clinch that deal. And that game was pretty close throughout. I mean, I think the Colts had a lead at one point going into the fourth. But the week 1 connection between Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley, who we expect to probably win Most Improved Player or at least be up there as one of the big improvements for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 8 catches for 101 yards. on 11 targets. Zay Jones, who was more better in his second and third option instead of being the number one option, 5 catches, 55 yards on 7 targets. Ingram, 5 catches as well. So Trevor Lawrence spreading the ball out and getting some big major production. Now, a lot of that was because they were trailing, so they probably had to throw the ball a lot. But they also got production from their running back, who also was catching the ball out of the backfield. So a big balanced offense there. Trevor Lawrence, 24-32, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a big comeback victory for week 1 for the Jacks. Titans, a bit close one here. Titans lose on the road in New Orleans by 1 point. And Derek Carr's Saints debut. Derrick Henry, 15 carries for 63 yards to lead Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill, who people, I'm telling you, DeAndre Hopkins is going to regret going to Tennessee. I don't know what he thought he was doing when he went over there. Tannehill, 16 of 34, 198 yards, 3 interceptions, 3 sacks. Ryan Tannehill, the honeymoon has long been over. And the fact that it's sad that neither of the quarterbacks that Tennessee has, the young guys, cannot take that job. And why did Hopkins pick Tennessee? Maybe he really was trying to escape the state taxes. I don't know. DeAndre Hopkins did have 7 catches for 65 yards on 13 targets, so he will get a lot of targets because Tannehill has nowhere else to throw the ball to. So he'll force feed Hopkins, who will get a bunch of catches, but Tennessee will lose a bunch of games. That's what you're going to see. So that's that. Any bright spots for the Saints? Derek Carr threw for 300 yards, 23 of 33. He was sacked 4 times. A lot of the quarterbacks are getting sacked a lot. Even the mobile quarterbacks, the pocket passers, they're all getting sacked. He's seen a lot of sacks already early on. And usually that would be more so down towards the end of the year when it's colder. Quarterbacks are getting sacked on their asses early. So I wonder what the hell's going on with that. These O-lines are not holding up. Or is it defensive lines are better? We'll see. We will see. So let me see what else we got. We got the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Donkeys. Raiders go into Denver and beat the Donkeys 17-16. Jimmy Garoppolo spoils Sean Payton's Denver debut. And Raiders have won now 7 straight over the Broncos. So Raiders are building some real estate up in Denver territory. So people are wondering, what was Russell Wilson going to do? Will he turn his season around? Now, Russell Wilson, who was sacked twice, threw for 2 touchdowns, threw for 177 yards, 27 to 34. Not bad as far as efficiency is concerned. It's going to be a long year for Russell Wilson and the Denver Donkeys. I'll tell you that right now. Miami and the Chargers. Now, this was one of the best games as far as like offense. Dolphins pulled it out 36-34. And what a big one there. I mean, this thing went down back and forth. And how about Miami staying with the Chargers? Now, I didn't think... Did we have Miami winning week 1? No, we had them losing. But Miami goes into LA and into Justin Herbert's house and beats him in week 1. That's pretty impressive. I'm still not sold on the Dolphins, but, you know. Tua, 28 of 45, 466 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Look, honestly, I will live with that. 28 of 45. If the guy nearly misses 20 passes, he's not going to win all those games. You know, he won't. Now, Tyreek Hill bailed him out a lot. 11 catches, 15 targets, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill pretty much carried the load for the and bailed out Tua. Tyreek Hill was the reason that Tua looked that good. But I'm not going to give up yet on the Chargers after 1 week. I mean, Herbert 23-33. He was sacked 3 times. His O-line needs to do better. They play like pathetic dog poop. But Austin Heckler was good. They ran the ball well. Heckler and Kelly both 16 rushes apiece. Kelly had 91 yards. Heckler had 117 yards. So they established the run in this game. And also Heckler's going to be, he's the top prize in the fantasy, right? This guy does everything. So we'll see how that goes. I think Chargers are going to be better as the season goes on. Rams went into the Sea Chickens house. Now this is another surprise, potential surprise that I didn't see coming. Rams went to Seattle and beat the Sea Chickens in Seattle. Thumped the Sea Chickens. Matthew Stafford 334 yards without Cooper Kupp. No Cooper Kupp. No problem for the Rams. Atwell 6 targets, 119 yards. Some guy named Nakua 10 targets, 10 catches, 119 yards. So they got some guys that can catch the ball over there. Higbee had 3, Van Jefferson 4. So they got some guys that can catch the ball. Now Seattle, is Seattle that good? Probably not. But it's still an impressive win for the LA Rams without your top receiver to go in there and beat the Sea Chickens on the road. Geno Smith, who got paid, I'm telling you, the Seattle's gonna regret giving Geno Smith that contract. 16-26, 112 yards, 1 touchdown in the home opener. We gave you that money, and this is what you produce. I don't know how that's gonna hold up. Not gonna be happy. Tyler Lockett had 2 catches. Yeah, that's not gonna be good. They're gonna be running Geno Smith out of Seattle in no time. Packers and Bears. How about that? I was about to say Kevin Love. Jordan Love and the Packers. Jordan Love has look, when Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay to go to the Jets, he handed the lease to the Chicago Bears over to the ownership deed to Jordan Love. He handed it over. He said, "Hey man, I was the owner of the Chicago Bears. Now you're the new owner." And Jordan Love said, "Okay, thanks." And Jordan Love came into Chicago and beat the Bears 38-20. The new owner establishing his ownership of the Chicago Bears, his presence, showed up. Jordan Love 3 touchdowns. And the Bears just can't get right now. We like the Bears. We think the Bears are going to have a good year. We wasn't sold on the Packers. So it's still early. It's only week 1. So we'll see how that turns out. But we have to give Green Bay credit. 15-27 for Jordan Love, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. And you gotta give him credit. Now the rushing game for the Green Bay is dreadful. I mean, Dylan, 13 carries, 19 yards, 1.5 yards per carry. Come on, dude. Now Jones and Taylor were pretty good. They both were over 4 yards a carry, so that's solid. Receiving wise, not much to be excited about, but I think their top receiver was hurt, so we'll see how that works when he comes back. I think it was Christian Watson, something like that. I can't see it on the screen because they're not showing them. But Justin Fields, 24-37, 216 yards. He was sacked 4 times, threw a pick, threw 1 touchdown. He also ran the ball 9 rushes for 59 yards. These goddamn running quarterbacks. They're never going to learn. Running QBs cannot win in the NFL. They'll be individually good, but they won't win Super Bowls. That's just the bottom line. Burn yourself out early if you want. Get hurt, you're done. You're done. And then Cowboys and Giants, the New York massacre. The massacre. It was almost like Dallas came in there and tornadoed the New York Giants. I mean, God, was that a beatdown or what? And that's a division game, season opener whooping. If you haven't seen, this is the worst shutout loss in the series between the NFC East rivals. The worst. And wow, how about them Cowgirls? Cowgirls look good. 13-24 for Dak, 143 yards. Now offensively, Dak was given a 14-0 lead, right? It was basically the special teams and the defense for the Cowgirls that set the tone for Dak, and Dak was able to take advantage of it. He didn't turn the ball over. So you could kind of win this way if your quarterback doesn't turn over the ball, as Dak did not turn the ball over. But you would love for Dak to be better. 143 yards, you got to do more than that. Tony Pollard, 14 carries for 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know, stats is kind of hard to look at because they were just feasting on the Giants after, at one point, when the game was pretty much over. Daniel Jones, 15-28, 104 yards, 7 sacks. This guy was a absolute mess. And they gave him money too. It seemed like all the guys who got paid this offseason, all the QBs, all struggled, right? Joe Burrow struggled in week 1, whether it's injury related or not, he still struggled. Geno Smith didn't get it done, right? Daniel Jones didn't get it done. All these guys got paid this offseason, and they seem to not have gotten it done. So, what does that mean? I don't know. So, we will see. And that's the recap here for week 1 in the NFL. Now, later on this week, I guess maybe tomorrow, because tomorrow's Wednesday, we'll try to get it out before Thursday. We'll get the week 2 picks against the spread. Once the line comes out, the good line, not today's line, because it might change. And I'm going to have to really pay attention to that injury report, because we don't know what's going to happen there. But we know that Aaron Rodgers is out for the year. So that's that. Also, so all in all, I think week 1 was a solid week, right? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think week 1 was a good week or not? I thought week 1 was okay. I think week 1 was it was okay. And we'll look forward to week 2. Some exciting games potentially. We'll go over the picks on Wednesday. Now, last topic before we get out of here, Colorado. The Colorado Buffaloes, college football. We'll touch on that a little bit. And I picked against Colorado this week. I went with Nebraska. I think it was like a plus 2.5 for Nebraska or something like that. Plus 3, I don't remember. Nebraska looked like dog shit. They just got beat, and their quarterback sucks. And there were questions of should they have pulled their quarterback, but they didn't. For some reason, they allowed them to play and get beat down, and Colorado took advantage. Deion Sanders got the Colorado Buffaloes at 2-0. But a lot of the conversation surrounding the Colorado Buffaloes is not really about on the field, which is kind of weird, right? It's like, okay, the team is 2-0, they're playing well, but a lot of the conversations through social media, online, whether it be YouTube or just any spaces where people are talking football or college football, they're talking Deion and off the field, like off the press conferences or things he's saying, or whether it's race related or whatever the case may be. I don't understand. I guess that's part of the way of keeping the pressure off of the kids. I don't know. I just think that that strategy is not going to work for the full season if they're doing that on purpose. I think you should just keep it on the field. Hey, the guy's playing well. Talk about the game. I don't think it has anything to do with race or none of this other stuff that they're trying to make it out to be. It's all distractions. Oh, I got the receipts and they don't like me. They criticize me because we're black and this and that. Or people are celebrating them because they're black and they think this is some kind of black excellence or achievement. Look, it's football, right? It's football. That's what it is. There's nothing special going on here. You put together a good game plan, you recruit, you coach, you teach guys, you get them ready for the game, and if they play well, they win. If they don't, they lose. There's all to it. There's really nothing extra going on. There's no special sauce here that has anything to do with somebody being black or because whatever the percentages are or all this other stuff. That once the game starts, once the whistle starts, once the whistle's blown and the timer, the game kicks off, it's all those guys on the field trying to beat each other, both sides. Right? Every team got black players. Every team got white players. Every team has guys who has faced adversity, have came from backgrounds. Colorado's not special in the way it's been put together. Okay? The only difference is that Dion is just more vocal. That's it. But he's not special as far as like he's, oh my God, like what he's doing is some type of situation that needs to be like micromanaged by the media. Right? Cover the team. That's all you gotta do. Don't try to kiss the ass. Don't try to. If they do well, and the same thing for the coaches. Like Dion needs to, don't take it personal if coaches or media members criticize you if your team messes up. Like I really want to know how the media is gonna cover Colorado when they lose 2 in a row, or if they lose a bad game. Because it seems like right now guys are afraid to criticize Deion Sanders, or even to report on Deion Sanders or the Colorado. Not just criticize because they're afraid that he's gonna come into a press conference and say, "Oh, I remember you. You said this." You don't like. It was the off season. You guys put together. You had like 50 new players and a turnaround program. Of course, people are gonna have comments and say, "Hey, this may not work. What's going on here?" Because this is something that is really not the norm. But once the season starts, I think everything becomes the norm. Like, okay, we're now ready. Guys are playing football. Let's report on the guys playing football. Let's not make it about the coach and about the culture and all this other stuff you're trying to add to the mix. It's really not about that. Guys want to play football. Wins or losses, stick to that. That's what I say. But right now they're 2-0. They're playing well. We'll see what happens next week. We will see what happens. And that's all we can do. But I really hope that the media does not be afraid to report when they are losing games. At the expense of, I'm going to be called racist if I don't report it. No. And we've seen this a lot with the athletes and the coaches, right? We've seen with the track star girl who didn't want to talk to the white media members because I guess she felt they disrespected her or they criticized her when she was losing or reported on her losing. I don't know what the deal was with that, but we just see this type of stuff going around with different media members have to walk on eggshells in order to report basic stuff, like not even something that is an opinion, because reporters reporting what's going on. The people with the opinion pieces, the guys on TV, on the radio and stuff like that, those are different people. They're not the same as the reporters. But the athletes and the coaches, they like to lump them all in as to, if you're reporting on something that I don't like, then that means that must be your opinion of it, which is not always the case. Now, are some guys playing both lanes? Yeah, there's some people out there who are playing both sides. They'll opinionate and report. But not every member of the media is doing that. And look, the media, I think the media are scum when it comes to reporting, when it comes to like politics and regular news. But I think in sports, they try to be objective as possible. Most of them, until they start, dibbling into like the politics. That's when they completely lose me. But when they stick to sports, I think they do fairly a decent job on that standpoint. For the ones who do it. So, but I just hope that they don't get afraid to. Then they don't all of a sudden start to get scared to ask questions because they don't want to come off as racist or stuff like that. And we've seen players on a professional level dog out media members for asking questions. Let's hope that doesn't happen in this case. And look, the Colorado has a good year. Good for them, right? It's good. Good for Deion. It helps him as far as recruiting to get more people to come to Colorado because he can show evidence that this does work, and maybe other people will try to mimic it, or at least try to. But I don't think many people can really mimic Deion's style. And I know people said, they're worried about Deion and what he could do if he's successful. I don't think Nick Saban and them are worried because Deion is a brand in himself, right? It's not like another black coach, a no-name random black dude that came up in the ranks to coach. He can't mimic Deion because he's black, right? That's what they're trying to allude to. They're trying to say people are going to be worried because a black man is going to be able to do all this. No, you can't. You can't do it because you're not Deion Sanders. You're not a Hall of Famer. You're not all-time great, right? So you're not going to be able to mimic that because you're black. You won't be able to. You have to have some kind of pedigree. You have to show something. You have to have a message that people can believe in. And plus, Deion just came off of Jackson State where he won over there, even though that's not a big program, but he showed that he's able to put together something. So he did have something to show for. If you have nothing to show for, you cannot mimic what Deion does, right? I think Saban's not afraid. These other coaches, they're not worried about the system. They'll adjust. All the great coaches adjust. Greg Popovich had to adjust when he was running his system in San Antonio. With Tim Duncan, Dave Robinson, he had to adjust to a more faster pace. With Parker Ginobili and with Kawhi, the great ones, they adjust. Riley adjusted. Phil Jackson made some adjustments. The great executives, the great guys who are leaders, they will adjust. Belichick adjusted throughout his years. They'll adjust. They're not worried about Deion. I'm telling you. They're not worried. So, that's that, folks. That's it for GridironSteady. We'll see you guys Wednesday. And happy hunting. Peace.